real quick about where Democrats need to like put up or shut up right now?
Yeah,
And this
please.
is like not trying to derail anything,
have
but
at it.
it's the third rail. Israel Palestine.
Mm.
Like over the weekend,
Yep.
the New York Times came out with an article that talked about how the Israeli government has been lying for years now about Hamas stealing aid, and they justify not allowing any aid to make it into these 2 million starving Palestinians, right? And we're just beginning to see the dam kind of break, I think, in a mainstream kind of way where people are saying, maybe genocide isn't good no matter who does it, right? We're 2 years into over 2 years into this conflict, and we're finally just starting to see people talking about genocide is not good, and we should not be paying for military weapons to send to an ally that is committing genocide.
Right. There's no question. I literally had
Right?
friends over yesterday, and we were talking about this. And I said, if they asked me, because we do all this stuff, like, well, if you were president, what would you do? I'm like, I would get the fuck out of supporting Israel 100%. Not like say, hey, we're against you and start fucking funding anybody, on the other side of it. But you just go, look, if you're going to commit genocide, we don't give you money or ammunition.
Yeah.
The
Find
end.
a new president.
It's not that
So
complicated.
today is Monday as we're recording this, and things are happening very fast. So who knows what this is going to look like by the time the episode drops. But Senator Angus King just issued a statement saying, I can't defend the indefensible. I am through supporting the actions of the current Israeli government and will advocate and vote for an end to any United States support whatsoever until there is a demonstrable change in the direction of Israeli policy.
Has to happen.
I spent a year in the Middle East, right? The reason why I don't talk about Israel Gaza is because what I am seeing Israel do to the Palestinians now is worse than what Americans did to Iraqis when I was there.
Mm.
I have seen people, not to the extent that Palestinians are starving right now, but I've seen people starve. I have seen people riot to try to get frozen chickens off of my company's truck when they didn't have the propane to cook the chicken, right? That is survivor's guilt, moral injury. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's fucking terrible, and I hate to relive it.
Well,
but I have to, right? Like that is what our government is supporting right now, and Democrats need to step the fuck up and say no more.
So there actually was an article in Politico New York today that talks about, because New York Democrats have generally been the most supportive of Israel because New York City is the second largest population of Jewish people outside of Tel Aviv.
Yep.
So, and I've worked in it. I worked with a governor that was a staunch supporter. This is where I think people are missing here, is that you can be against the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu and still support Israel.
100%.
And I think we are not having that conversation in the correct way. That what I'm hearing a lot of is, oh, you are critical of Bibi Netanyahu, you hate Israel, you don't want any.
You're
and
anti-Semitic,
I
right?
that is not a fair place to be.
No.
I'm sorry. And when October 7th happened, I did a video, you can go back and look, where I supported Israel after that horrific crime that Hamas perpetrated.
Right.
But like the response back, which yes, you are allowed to defend yourself, but they are mowing down. Cities don't exist anymore.
No, it's completely disproportionate.
They told people to go to safe zones where they would be safe, refugees, and then they bombed them. They took dead Palestinians and put them on the trucks of their cars and drove them through the cities that they were bombing. What the fuck is that? Yeah. And I'm sorry, and I know there's a thing in war, and like, yes, that was probably some very untrained soldiers. Doesn't matter. They can't wipe a whole population of people off the map, and that is exactly what they're doing, and that is exactly what Donald Trump is supporting as well. And I'll be honest, Joe Biden supported that too. And I was a Joe Biden supporter.
Me too.
And what he did in Israel is going to be a stain on his legacy forever.
Yeah. And it doesn't give us the moral authority to stand up to Russia as they commit genocide in Ukraine. right? It simply doesn't. So it makes us and our voices irrelevant. And we've talked about this in earlier episodes. Most MAGA has no idea what the perception of the United States is outside. They don't have friends outside the United States. They never go outside the United States. But the rest of the world is making plans for their own governments to act as if the United States does not matter. And that, I think, people really need to internalize. We grew up, all of us grew up in what was considered by large parts of the world the indispensable nation. We are no longer the indispensable nation. Not to our allies, not to people who need aid to modernize. We are no longer it. We've lost the title.
For me, I understand. I understand fully how we got here, because if you look at the 2024 election, you look at the demographics that Democrats lost, and then you say, what if you guys lost Jewish voters too because you fucked it up?
Right.
I understand. I mean, political wins and losses are not on the same. They're not on the same universe as human rights wins and losses. So let's say that now. But I do understand how non-Jewish Democratic leaders could look at this and go, oh my God, we have another thing that we don't know how to navigate. And if we screw it up, we're going to lose 30% of our voters on top of the Black men and the Hispanic men and all of the, and so, like, politically, I mean, I haven't done a lot of videos about it because it's that difficult, but I also, I know probably a lot more about the history of Middle East conflict than the average American, and yet I still know about 3% of the history of Middle East conflict.
It's complicated.
It is, from what I've read and learned, it's 2,500 years of constant conflict, constant war, and atrocity and genocide. And this is why I'm not religious. One of the big reasons why I'm not religious is because religion is behind, one way or the other. It's always a card that's being played in every crusade, every genocide. It's always on the table. And so for so many reasons, I look at this and I'm like, I don't want to touch that with a 7,000-foot pole. But when you see these, like, I have kids now, and it destroys me to see New York Times published a whole bunch of photos of moms holding absolutely emaciated 2-year-olds, kids who should be being swayed by their dad on a podcast, not stuck in Gaza hoping that they can find food, and if they can't find food, at least hoping they don't have a bomb dropped on their head. So I mean, it's gotten so bad. Something absolutely has to change, and things are starting to move, but it shouldn't have gotten this bad.
I want to say one thing to just on the political side of it from a Jewish perspective. Like, my whole family's Jewish, at least on my dad's side, my whole family's Jewish, and they are all Democrats. And if Democrats took a hard stance against Israel, they would lose none of those voters. I think that's an important thing for Democrats to understand, is like, it's not just about, like, almost nobody is a single issue voter unless they're like truly entrenched within that space. But, like, us being Jewish doesn't make us look at Israel and go, they're great all the time. It's like, I mean, like, some of the people in my family are definitely a little more forgiving of the things that Israel does because of that heritage, but none of them are looking at it and going like, oh, if they take a hard stance on Gaza, I'm out. None of them. They would all still vote for whoever the next candidate is.
And here's the reality: most Israelis are against this war. So why
Yes.
can't we be?
Right.
Like, just because we say that, like, we don't want this war, it doesn't. I'm not saying that I want Israel wiped off the map. I want the opposite of that.
Right.
But they are doing to Gaza what they are worried will happen to them, and it is very obvious. And Netanyahu has political and, frankly, personal reasons to keep this war going so that he doesn't have to be indicted. And I just think that Rich, you are 1,000,000,000% right. Democrats tried to play the both sides game, and we ended up pissing off everybody because we didn't take a stand.
So
I mean,
weak.
even Kamala Harris's worst moment, I think, on the campaign was when she mocked some of the Palestinian protesters in the front row. That right at the beginning, and it felt good because they don't, blah, 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 but it was a devastatingly bad thing. And I think Dearborn, Michigan, where we lost 100,000 votes, saw that and said, nope, because that is an Arab first population. And then finally, what I will say is that all these people who say, well, then, all these MAGAs mostly who say like, well, if those people just didn't support Hamas, it would be fine. And I'm like, what do you want a mom to do whose husband has been killed by the IDF and there is nobody else defending her? What is she going to do? Is she going to say, no, not Hamas, and then get a bullet in the back of the head? Or is she going to support the one person fighting back? Like, people just try to make this terrorism thing as a black and white issue. And the reality is most people are inherently good. People who are in poor, desperate situations, they choose the thing that is going to keep them alive, regardless of all the other things. And Americans, because we are so comfortable here, we don't have any of these problems. We are just incapable of understanding why somebody would do something like that.
Yeah, you see enough bad things happen, and you start to say, okay, if this is the conversation we're having, if this is how this goes, then bad things are going to happen everywhere all of the time until we get out of this. And so then at that point, it takes a leader or a movement or a revolution to stop the thing from happening, because obviously when you get a family member killed and then you get revenge and then they get revenge, it just goes like that forever. And so I think it is absolutely essential. And I wish I had, if I could go back 6 months and tell myself to be a more vocal part of this. Israel and the Israeli government and the Israeli people and Judaism are all different things.
Yes. 100%.
Conceptually.
We have
we can talk about them differently and separately. And Netanyahu is not the Israeli government, is not Israel, is not the Israeli people.
Right.
There are so many layers, and it's that chaos versus clarity conversation that we always have with MAGA, where they're chaos and we have to be able to, we can't just be chaos in return. We have to be able to have those more difficult, nuanced conversations and expect people to pause just for a moment their emotional reactions to everything and allow themselves to be smart enough to hear the correct full-fledged argument.
That's the hard
part.
What is
crazy to me is that we give the benefit of the doubt to our so-called enemy nations. Like, I don't hate North Koreans. I don't hate Iranians. I don't hate Russians. Right? I don't hate the Chinese. And both Republicans and Democrats in office very often make that distinction. They're like, the Iranian people are good. They are unfortunately controlled by an authoritarian government. They do not have realistic ways to depose that government without massive amounts of death. Right? Why, if we can offer the benefit of the doubt to our supposed enemies, why can't we use the same logic for our allies and say that this government is fucked up? They are doing fucked up things. Genocide is bad no matter who does it. And we as Americans, as taxpayers, as voters, should absolutely not support anyone, Democrat or Republican, who is going to continue funding genocide. Because we are all at fault. The United States, whether you want to, if you're, I don't care if you're a fucking anarchist, it doesn't matter. If you are eligible to vote in the United States, what the government does on your behalf, you are responsible for.
Yep. Well, and here's
go ahead.
Well, here's another thing that people just don't know in the United States, and I read about this the other day. It's fascinating. Is one of the reasons that the war in Israel is so unpopular is because there are carve-outs for ultra right-wing nationalists on religious grounds, so they don't have to fight. But do you want to know who the most ardent supporters of that war are? The ones that don't fight. It's almost like it's the same thing with Vietnam and the Gulf War here, where the poor and working class families are all putting up, and then there's a group of elites that are like, oh, I don't have to do that, so sure, go ahead at it. So Americans don't even know that these pieces that are going on here, but that's why, like, mentioning them, it's important, because we can be against this war and against Benjamin Netanyahu, who is an evil, evil, evil man,
right,
and not be, anti-Semitic, which is sometimes the charge that gets levied against
100%.
people who say that.
I mean, we need to be able to say Israel is bad, Hamas is bad, but we support all the people of that region. Like, that's the truth of the matter. Like, it's not complicated. And like, the Democrats attempted that in 24 and really fucked it up because they just didn't actually take a hardline stance on anything. But like, as a Jewish American, I sit here and go, please don't support Israel. Like, it's a terrible idea. It doesn't make me anti-Semitic because I am very attached to my culture. I'm Jewish myself. My family is very into the culture of being Jewish. But in no way, shape, or form are we looking at Israel and going, thumbs up, dude, you're doing awesome. It's like, no, you're committing genocide. It's genocide, flat out.
Like, how do you argue? How does anybody argue opposite of that?
You can't. But here's the thing. Within my own family, there are people who would argue with that, just because they are so entrenched in like, well, Israel is, it's important for us and our community. It's like, yeah, I understand that. But at the same time, like, I keep pushing back on them all the time of like, hey, there is a point where you have to give up this weird like cultural allegiance and just realize right and wrong, right? There is a line for that. But even within that realm, like it's not something where I know anybody who's like so entrenched in it that they won't change their mind.
We're also losing this battle because we have seen in the last few days, the French have recognized Palestine as a state, and they are pushing the United Kingdom to do so as well. Canada also has recognized Palestine as a. So Bibi is like, he is losing everywhere. And he is actually going to end up with the thing that he doesn't want, which is the entire world, probably minus us, recognizing Palestine as its own country.
Right.
And that's going to cause all kinds of different problems for him. I mean, he is an idiot, first of all, an evil idiot. I mean, he's not an idiot. I mean, he's a smart guy because he's doing a lot of evil shit, but it's all coming like, it's all going to end up in a place that he doesn't want.
Yeah, he's not long-term game planning very well. Yeah, it's very reactionary. I mean, that's what happens too. Like, the same thing happened with us after 9/11. Like, all the shit that cascaded after that was just overreaction based on emotion. It's the same shit that happened after October 7th. It's like, well, here we go. It's one terrorist attack versus a fucking giant genocide. Probably not proportional. It's the same thing with us. We're like, maybe we shouldn't have gone to Iraq for, however many fucking years we were there.
Oh, you think? Do you mean the country that had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11 whatsoever, and then we killed 1 million of their people?
Exactly. But that's
and we lost how many?
Disproportionate reaction.
Well, yeah.
Just to maybe wrap up this conversation, I think we're probably getting close to the end as it is, but I wanted to make sure I encouraged all Democrats, but especially people, if you're like me and you're in a place where you're thinking, do I have the air cover from the Jewish community to have a strong opinion about this? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But what really blew my mind was, and I'll probably say his name wrong, but Mandy Patinkin.
Great show.
He's a
Princess Bride,
Jewish actor who played Inigo Montoya in Princess Bride. And I didn't know, how he was going to come down on this. He popped up on my feed and I ended up watching a lengthy, maybe 5-6 minute impassioned speech calling Israel's response to Gaza, or Israel's actions in Gaza, unconscionable, comparing them to revenge business, actually, from Princess Bride, but and asks, and this was just published on July 12th, so not long ago, and asks the Jewish community, is this acceptable and sustainable? And after watching that, it's like, okay, we have everything we need. Like, just stop. Don't tiptoe around this, because to Chris's point, the world is planning to lead without us because we're not leading anymore.
Yeah, worry about right and wrong.
That can't be the future for us.
And let's reiterate, being against the genocide in Gaza is not anti-Semitic.
Not at all.
And I think that's what a lot of people I've been worried about it too. So, with that,
I mean, dude, that is something that I take so fucking personally. I'm holding a baby Jew in my arms right now. Like, my last name is Goldsmith. I am not Jewish. I grew up on Long Island. Half the world was Jewish when I grew up, right? Like, all of my best friends and family, like, right? People have come at me for expressing, like, saying what is happening right now in Palestine because of the Israeli military, the IDF forces, is very similar to what I witnessed in Iraq, except it's worse because we understood you commit a war crime, you're fucked, you're done, you're over. Like, you are spending the rest of your life in fucking Leavenworth.
Yep.
But we don't see that in the IDF. The IDF keeps going, oh, we bombed the hospital. That was legit.
Oops.
Like, oh, we killed fucking 40 people to get one terrorist. Like, The
Right.
logic that the IDF uses is exactly the same logic that Hamas uses.
Yeah.
Exactly the
100%.
same.
They're 1-to-1. There's no question.
It is the same fucking logic. They're like, oh, we killed civilians. Well, everyone, it's mandatory service in Israel, so they're
Hamas
all
embeds.
soldiers.
Right. That's the thing. Like,
right?
It's true. Like, Hamas embeds themselves in civilian areas on purpose. Like, that's what they do. And Israel ignores civilians on purpose. That's what they do. Like, they're doing the exact same thing. They're just, there's a complete disregard for how the average person is going to get affected there by both sides of this thing. It's just
and I can tell you from experience, right? I have been shot at by terrorists from a crowd, and my entire platoon did not return fire. I'm sure that a couple of us had a clean enough shot, but we understood that in an alleyway, if you fire one round, the round follows the wall, and anyone close to the wall is very likely to get hit. So all of us refrained from firing. IEDs are going off. We're surrounded. Like, I fucking remember this like it was yesterday. Not one of us returned fire because we were surrounded by crowds. That is the discipline that I had as a 19-year-old. And for anyone who excuses IDF troops being like, oh, well, they were reservists, they got called up. I spent fucking, 3 months in basic training, like 4 months with my unit, and went straight to Iraq. That was enough fucking time. And I didn't grow up surrounded by veterans who like, had fucking their own weapons and shit. Like, that was not the culture I grew up in. I still had the self-discipline not to fucking murder innocent people.
Right. And the training. The IDF's not training that. They're training the opposite.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, guys, do you want to talk about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau now? we have had some of the best pivots in this episode too, because Chris took us down a path too, which we weren't expecting, but it was a really good conversation.
I like it.
But yes, so like there's terrible stuff internationally, and now you're about to learn. Well, you're about to learn a little bit about good things that both the Obama and Biden administrations did with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But now you're going to hear about how they're basically stopping all that so that their millionaire and billionaire friends can get.
It's a really positive episode we got going on.
Can I just do one last thing?
Sure.
It's not going to be angry. So this is a reading assignment. I personally do not like the author, but I think it's still worth reading. It's called "The Girl Who Stole My Holocaust" by Noam Hyatt. I personally don't like the author. He annoys the shit out of me, but it is the perspective of an IDF soldier who comes to a realization after seeing the fear in a young girl's eyes as he presented as a soldier in front of her, a young Palestinian girl. In that moment, that's all it took for him to gain his conscience back, because he had justified everything that the Israeli military had ever done to the Palestinian people because of the Holocaust. So I want to encourage people to read this book. Again, I don't like the author. I don't think in real life we could be friends, but the story you can learn from. So sorry, Tim, we can talk about CFPB, and I promise I will be less emotional on that side.
You get more. We got some anger on this side. We're going to get a bit of a more cerebral take, but there's some funny parts in it, so definitely stick around.
Yes.
And our interview with Rohit Chopra begins right now. All right, everybody. We have a great guest today. We have somebody that is on the left and has the honor of being both hired and fired by Donald Trump. The former director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Rohit Chopra, is with us. He was also on the Federal Trade Commission as well.